Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a pretty awesome accessory for your Xbox Series X. Now what we have here is the detachable 4K display for your Series X, and recently on the channel we took a look at a 1080p display for the Series S. It's made by the same company, they're known as GStory, but with the X version we do get a 4K panel, so it'll do 4K 60 or it'll do 1080p 120. It also supports HDR, it's 99% sRGB, and it's got built-in dual stereo speakers. This is known as the GStory 125XU. So let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box. I'm really interested to see how it performs on the Series X. So first up, we've got our accessories box. This does come with an IR remote. And next up inside of the box, we've got the full unit itself. It's kind of laid in here really nicely. So basically, this attaches to the back of the Series X. It's got a built-in cooling fan to help everything stay nice and chilly. Around back here, we do have our dual stereo speakers, and we've got our HDMI inputs. Here's a closer look at the unit itself. Now this clips right to the back of the Series X. We've got the 12.5-inch HDR 4K 60 display. It'll also do 1080 120. It also comes included with an HDMI cable, an IR remote, and a power supply to power the speakers and the display itself. Now with the version we took a look at for the Series S, I was actually able to run this over USB power, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do the same thing here, because this is rated at 5 volts to 12 volts, and the included power supply is 12 volts at 24 watts, but we can run this on USB power, because after all, we get 5 volts out. We've got a couple on the rear of the Series X, but with the Series S version we took a look at, running it on USB power did give us an issue when we took the sound over 50%. Other than that, it actually worked really well over USB power. We've also got an extra HDMI input back here, so you could connect another device to this. So installation is a breeze. It's got these little hooks on it that'll go right into the vented grate on the back of the Series X, and it just kind of snaps right on. Nice and snug, no screws or anything like that are required to get this mounted up. And now to get it up and running, we just need to plug in our HDMI to the Series X. We're going to use port 2 on here. This does 4K 60, the other port does 4K 30 or 1080p 60. So make sure you're using the correct port here. It is marked on the unit itself. And here it is. Keep in mind we are using wall power right now, but later on in the video we will try USB power with this unit. It looks pretty good, but you know the Series X is just such a large console. It is a bit funky sitting on the table sideways like this. Up top here, we do have dedicated buttons to control the monitor itself. We've got a volume control, but remember, we have that IR remote. First things first, as soon as I booted this up, I went into my display settings. I wanted to check that we could do 1080p 120. Working out great here. But when it comes down to it, I really want to run this at 4K 60. I want to get the best picture that I can out of this little monitor. Before we test out a few games, I did want to go into the OSD and just check out all the settings. I mean, we have basically everything we need to get this adjusted to your liking. From the fast set menu, we've got our basics, brightness, contrast, volume, color temperature. From picture set, we've got a lot more to mess with here. We've got those same settings, but we can also change to black level, DCR, eco, low blue light filter, noise reduction, color temperature. I mean, everything you need is here to get this to look exactly how you want it to look. We've got our sound set. We can adjust the bass, treble, balance from those built-in dual stereo speakers. And from general set, we can change the input, turn on FreeSync, overdrive, HDR, auto power saving, change the language. We've got the OSD transparency, and we also have fan control, which I would highly recommend turning on. This is going to turn that built-in fan on. So for this video, the only two things that I've really changed here is turning the fan on and turning the brightness up to 100% just to make it a little easier on my camera. So now I want to test out some games on this thing and see how it really looks and plays. Alright, so I've been messing around with it for a little while with a couple different games. Here's Forza Horizon 5, and I'm actually set to performance in this game. I prefer running it at 60 with lower fidelity. It still looks absolutely amazing. And this is definitely running at 60 FPS. I mean, the monitor itself is at 60 Hertz. I kind of wish we could get a little more sound out of the built-in speakers. I mean, it's not super quiet, but I do wish we had a little more out of it. You can adjust the bass, you can adjust the treble, and it does help out a bit. But remember, we also have those audio outputs on the back of this unit, so you can plug in headphones. or you could just use a wireless setup with the Xbox itself. But yeah, so far it's been working nicely, and I really do think that this monitor actually looks really good. 4K 60 or 1080 120. When you're using the Series X, you're probably just going to want to go with 4K 60. But you know, with some of the FPS enhanced games, you could always do that 1080 120.
We're here. That elevator should take us to the surface.
Alright, so everything that we've taken a look at so far has been running on the included power adapter that plugs into the wall, but now I want to run this off of USB power. We've got this little adapter here. On one end we have USB, on the other end we have our barrel jack. These are actually pretty cheap on Amazon. I picked a couple up for the Series S version. Now this is not going to put out 24 watts, and like I mentioned, with the S version I had issues with sound. I couldn't really go over like 70% with it. It would shut the whole unit down because the built-in audio amplifier was just pulling too much wattage. But as soon as I took that volume down to around 50%, it worked out fine, even with the brightness on the panel set at 100%. I think we're going to see similar results here. So let me go ahead and get a little bit of testing out of the way. And we're getting very similar results. I've got the volume set at 76%, and anytime I do a crash, it'll just shut off, but it should shut off in just a second for us. Give it some time. And really, only the panel goes out. The Xbox is fine. We'll come right back on. Let me turn this volume down. And just like the Series S version, with the volume at around 50%, we're actually good to go. It'll run like this all day over USB power. And you know, I really do wish they would have included some kind of adapter with the unit itself instead of having to plug this in separately to the wall. Even like a dual USB to that barrel jack would have worked out just fine, I think. So let me show you one more time here. I'll get into the settings. I'll turn the volume up past 70%. And it should cut off on us in a sec here. So yeah, that's really what's happening. That audio amplifier is just pulling too much wattage over USB. So in the end, I do think this is a cool accessory for the Series X, but you know, overall, I really see more value in picking one up for a Series S console, given the form factors, just a lot smaller, and it kind of looks portable set up like this. In the video I did with the Series S monitor, I also ran the whole unit on battery. Unfortunately, the X just pulls way too much wattage for any kind of portable battery system that I have, but with the S, it pulls around 100 watts, and with a big portable battery, you could go fully battery powered with the S and a monitor like this. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. I really appreciate you watching. If you're interested in learning more, maybe picking one up, I will leave a couple links in the description. You can scoop them up on Amazon. I think eBay might have them also. If you have any questions or you want to see anything else running on a setup like this, just let me know in the comments below. And like always, thanks for watching.